Hello there. Once again, it's Anton from Anton Obey. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the collection room. Today I'm taking a look at some cheap comics. Now, all this week, the theme has been really wanting to get back into the quarter bins. And I know those don't exist anymore. That's not an era that is. And most of the time when I find dollar bins, they're full of either new, like 2010 garbage or things that I just have no interest in. Or there is no dollar bin and they want that, like the cheapest you'll find is like a $5 bin. What I want is that golden era from the late 80s, early 90s. That's what I've really enjoyed. That's when I was primed. I started heavily collecting later than that, but I always found the quarter bins. And the quarter bins in the 90s had all of those 10-year-old comics in them at that time. And that was what I thrived on, because I could get complete series for $5, and I could get, 50 issues for like $10 most times, and stuff like that. $10, $12. It was a golden era, and it was a perfect time to collect. All of that's gone. I've had many comics in my life, and I've sold most of them, sadly, for different reasons. But every now and then I still want to go hunt comics. And what I've done, I was able to find a bunch of lots on eBay that a guy was selling for $9.99 a lot, and then he combined shipping on everything. That shipping came out to about $3. So you're looking like $13. I got 20 issues of DC's Blackhawk. Wasn't terribly familiar with Blackhawk, but I do love the art style in it. I've seen enough of the pictures from it to know that it was something I was interested in, kind of in that Airboy type way, because I do love comics like Airboy. In another video, I also mentioned just an observation I made. A lot of the old late 80s, early 90s Marvel comics have actually gone up a lot in value for some reason. I have no idea why. They're just as awful as they ever were. But stuff like the New Warriors, stuff like the early issues of New Mutants, Dazzler, even strange little titles like Namor and stuff like that have all gone up a lot for no reason, because they were never that great. They're just what they are. But DC comics of that era have not really gone up. Stuff like this has not increased in price, and I love that. So that is where I've been digging. And since I was never a big DC guy, some of these are really new to me. So this is 247 of Blackhawk. And I got quite a few in a row here. I got issue 248. And to give you a reference of date, this is 1976. That's how old this comic is. So to get that for about 50 cents an issue is landmark. Absolutely glorious. Issue 249. And some of these covers are just amazing. Issue 250. I mean, this is so much the era of comics that I love. Issue 251 is actually a cover I have seen numerous times. It's just a beautiful cover. They're all charging in there with their little moon hawk symbols on there. I think it's fantastic. There's crazy stuff going on in here. Look at the size of this thing. Those are airplanes next to that. I'm not even sure what war we're talking about here. I'm guessing it's World War II, but who knows? Yeah, just look at how great some of these covers are. This is fantastic. DC knew what they were doing sometimes on some of their books. Now their main titles, their JLA, their stuff like that, that's so much harder for me to get into, and those probably are a little bit more expensive. But DC had a lot of branch titles like Warlord and The Claw and a whole bunch of other titles that were not tied to a whole bunch of other things. That makes them a lot easier to get into, and they're inexpensive. So that's what I'm excited about lately. Probably saw a few of these in quarter bins back in the day, but it's hard to say. It's hard to really remember. Some comics I absolutely remember seeing and wanting to grab, and some of them were a little bit, if I had the money, I would take them. But otherwise, if I was full up, then there was no getting away from it. I only got to a comic book store maybe once every couple of months, and I'd only have $100 to spend. Now back in the 90s, that was a pretty good haul, especially if you were buying predominantly out of quarter bins. But it is what it is. So these are cool. And we even have ads for Intellivision stuff on the back. So that gives you kind of an idea of how old some of these are. There's not that many comics where you could just have a row of swastikas on the bottom of the page, and that would be okay. Blackhawk, you could. Back in this era, you could. People are so weird and wonky about stuff. The Blackhawk. I'm surprised nobody complains about his costume. His costume and everything like that. It's a little, I don't know. I think people would complain about it these days. I couldn't give you an exact reason why. Maybe it looks too Nazi for them, but he's literally fighting Nazis, so I don't know. Looks too authoritarian, that kind of thing, that kind of nonsense that we hear of all the time when it comes to comics. I'm thinking of skins that got banned in Fortnite, guys. They did not shy away of the swastika. They have swastikas all over the cover of this thing. There's one on the ring. There's some in his eyes. And look at it. This cover is just insane. That is insane and amazing. Beautifully done. Here we have Hitler himself. And how late could we still have Hitler himself? 1984. We got Masters of the Universe going on in the background. For Intellivision. I didn't know they made a video game of Masters of the Universe. That's really cool. All of that's really cool. Except for, you know, Hitler himself. He's not cool. Last issue, 273. So that's insane. Comics like this ran that long. 273 issues of that. And I just got to show you the ad because that is a fantastic ad on the back. And I got one shot. Special, intended for mature readers, or suggested. It looks like the JFK assassination going on in the background there, which I guess we all kind of know was the CIA now. You know, thanks for releasing that. We always kind of guessed it was. Yeah, and this was quite a bit later than that last issue. This is 92. Passenger 57 is on the back. Less cool than some of the other ads. But yeah, what a fantastic little haul for $10. Are these issues perfect? No. Is it anything you'd want to slab? No. Why would you slab anything anyway? No idea. These have probably never been in a comic book bag. And honestly, they are never going to be bagged and boarded with me either. They are in the perfect shape to pick up and read, carry around, flip through, and not stress over. Collect out of love and enjoyment. Remember, comic collection is supposed to be enjoyable. Anyway, those are things to keep in mind. Thank you so much for watching. That's my story. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.